There are two things that comedians of all stripes have in common, basically. One, the belief that someone who's not as funny as they are is doing better than they are. And two, we're a cynical bunch. And two, a sincere love and respect for George Carlin and his work. He is a member of our Holy Trinity. Lenny Bruce, Richard Pryor, George Carlin. The rest of us are just congregation. It's true. Personally, I first began listening to George Carlin in 7th grade. We had gotten a hold of Class Clown. And man, it was funny and dirty and great. And we just knew instinctively that parents weren't gonna like this kind of thing. We just knew. George Carlin was a rite of passage in the 70s, as much as smoking cigarettes and looking at Playboys, and in my case, dressing like Ace Frehley. And while the thrill is dissipated from those other activities, my pleasure in listening to George grows every time I hear him, as does my respect and admiration for him as a performer and as a person. So please sit back and enjoy a rather condensed version of George Carlin, 40 Years in Comedy.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. My name is George Carlin, and I am a professional comedian, as opposed to the kind you run into at work all day long.
There are thousands of comedians in this country, but basically only two types of humor. There's the old school and the new school. I think we recognize them both. The old school is largely made up of the fast-paced stand-up comedians, the one-liner comics who came from vaudeville and burlesque, and they comprise the insult school of humor. Jackie Leonard is a good example of this.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd just like to say it's wonderful to be back here in New York once again. It's a wonderful town. Thank you very much. You got some lovely girls here compared to the last place I worked. Somebody broad there was so ugly that if you wanted to pay him a compliment, you had to say, "How do you do?" I see your face cleared up.
Now, by contrast, in the new school, we have many different styles, but the foremost among them, I feel, is Mort Saul, the first man to do much with political comedy since Will Rogers. Mort Saul. Right, good, right, that's right, good, right, right. Basically, right, good, sorry, yeah. Basically, it's a dichotomy of guilt and society we're concerned with, right, good, right, onward, good. That covers the comedians that we pay to see. There is, however, a third field, generally unrecognized among humorists, and that's White House humor. JFK, the present resident president. Thank you very much. On behalf of the Attorney General, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the members of the Supreme Court, and the rest of my family.
Youngsters all over the country and Canada have been asking for us to bring back George Carlin. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is comedian, comedy star, George Carlin.
Hey, baby, what's happening? Hey, ¿qué pasa? Al Sleet here, your hippy-dippy weatherman, brought to you by Parsons Pest Control. Do you have termites, water bugs, and roaches? Yeah. Well, Parsons Pest Control will get rid of the termites and water bugs and let you keep the roaches. Tonight's forecast, dark. Continued dark tonight, turning to partly light in the morning.
And the big fight is coming up. Ali and Frazier, Muhammad Ali. I call him Muhammad Ali because that's what he wants. Oh, yeah, he's a big dude and he hits hard, you know. I'll call him what he wants. But it's good that he's being allowed to work again. As you know, he couldn't work for 3 years. Of course, he had a strange job beating people up. But that was his, you know, his right. He could have that job. Government wanted him to change jobs. Government wanted him to kill people. He thought it over and he said, no, that's where I draw the line. I'll beat him up, but I don't want to kill him. And the government told him, well, if you won't kill him, we won't let you beat him up. And it was all because he didn't want to go to Vietnam, and now we're getting out of Vietnam through Laos and Cambodia. That's gotta be the long way. You gotta go through China and Russia to get out that way. What are we gonna tell them? We'll only be here a short time. We're just looking for a trail. Well, maybe they'll go for it. I don't know. Of course, we're only there in Southeast Asia for one reason, to free the people so they can have industry. Isn't that what we do everywhere, I think? We kind of free people and then lay a little industry on them so they can have all the benefits of industry that we have. Oh, beautiful for smoggy skies, insecticided grain, for strip-mined mountains' majesty above the asphalt plain. America, America, man sheds his waste on thee and hides the pines with billboard signs from sea to oily sea.
I used to be this guy, or maybe this guy used to be me. I don't know. We were each other at one time. Wasn't long ago. I liked him, you know. He was really good. He was funny, and I had a lot of fun with him. He did some nice things for me, but it was like there was nothing behind him, you know. He was kind of just superficial, just the surface. It was all characters. I wasn't in there. I found out I wasn't in my own act after a while, and here I'd been doing it for 5 years. It was all characters. It was all other people that I remembered from my life, and composites of people.
People like this lady here, Congolia Breckenridge, a marvelous contestant on a quiz show. Pick a door. Oh, let me see. Monty. Oh, how many? What are the doors?
1, 2, and 3.
Oh, wow. What was that again?
1, 2, and 3.
Okay, 3. You what? Wait, 1. No, hold on. I didn't go yet.
My trouble was I wanted a list. I didn't think it was asking much. Here are these words I'm not supposed to say. Let's have a look at them. I figured, looking for a list, I started running into all the categories of dirty words. Started to realize there are more ways to describe filthy words than there are filthy words. Seemed curious to me. Someone was awfully interested in them. They found an awful lot of ways to refer to them. And I did too. Called them bad language, dirty, filthy, foul, vile, vulgar, coarse, unseemly, in poor taste, street language, locker room talk, gutter talk, barracks language, naughty, saucy, bawdy, raunchy, rude, lewd, lascivious, indecent, profane, obscene, blue, off-color, risque, suggestive, cursing, cussing, swearing. All I could think of was shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits, man.
There are things about the words surrounding football and baseball which give it all away. Football is technological. Baseball is pastoral. Football is played in a stadium. Baseball is played in a park. In football, you wear a helmet. In baseball, you wear a cap. Football is played on an enclosed, rectangular grid, and every one of them is the same size. Baseball is played on an ever-widening angle that reaches to infinity, and every park is different. Football is rigidly timed. Baseball has no time limit. We don't know when it's going to end. We might even have extra innings. In football, you get a penalty. In baseball, you make an error. Whoops. The object in football is to march downfield and penetrate enemy territory and get into the end zone. In baseball, the object is to go home. I'm going home. And in football, they have the clip, the hit, the block, the
tackle, the blitz, the bomb, the offense, and the defense. In baseball, they have the sacrifice.
What I have been doing, I've been branching out a little bit. My career has always been very one-dimensional, just being a stand-up comic, and I've been doing a couple other things. I worked some summer stock last summer.
Did you really?
I was in Death of a Salesman. I played the suitcase.
Ah, good.
Yeah. I did a little different for Rip Torn played the original suitcase on Broadway, and I understand he did it more as a valise, and I I did it as a two-suiter. You know, things like that. I got an opera. I've written an opera. It's interesting too. You have an opera singer tonight.
Brenda Blues.
I've written an opera about tuberculosis, and the only trouble is trying. Yeah, well, the trouble is trying to find a thin tenor. You know. This is serious. Now, I'm writing a sequel to the Bible. It's a wonderful book. It's been around a long time. I think it's time for another. And I'm having trouble with the title. I go Bible 2. I want to call it Bible 2. Son of Bible, you get into those things. The Bible goes west, you know.